Radio Solent. So as I was saying a few moments ago, today, the 18th of March, is World Recycling Day. Through the morning, we've been catching up with people here in the South, helping others to reduce, recycle and reuse, or even rehome. Colette Lake runs Clutter Free Me Hampshire and joins us on the line now. Hello, Colette.
Good morning.
Great to have you with us today. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I run Clutter Free Me Hampshire, and I basically come into everyday people who have too much stuff in their home and help them reduce that overwhelm and help them see the wood for the trees and give them some practical help, as well as giving them ideas for how they can keep their home clutter free in future.
How much stuff is too much stuff?
Well, too much stuff is when it is overtaking your space, basically. If you've got all the space in the world, keep as much as you like. But most people call me in because they are overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that they have in their home. So if it's causing you a problem, then that's when you have too much stuff. And that's a very individual thing for people.
Why is it so hard for some people to part with things?
Well, there's a few reasons. The main ones that come to light are normally because the guilt is actually something that we all suffer with when it comes to all of our stuff. That could be guilt because of the amount of money that we've wasted buying things. It could be guilt because it belongs to someone else. We don't want to waste stuff. People really don't want to waste stuff, and they don't necessarily see the options for making sure that is not wasted, that doesn't require them to keep hold of it. So I think it's finding that fine balance. But yeah, it's often sentimental items. We feel guilty if we get rid of those. We have items that we've spent money on, so we feel it'll come in useful and handy one day. There's quite a few different reasons, but it normally boils down to guilt.
Which is something, which is just not a positive thing to hang on to in any regard, is it? And as you say, it can really become super overwhelming having too much stuff. So once you've helped someone declutter, what happens to all of the stuff that they decide not to keep?
Well, this is the lovely thing that we make sure that we do here with Clutter Free Me, is that we make sure that everything we take is repurposed. So for a start, we don't want you to be left with piles of things that you then have to do something with. So I make sure that anything that you don't want in your home anymore, that you've decided, or we've gone through that process and you've decided what you would like to pass on, then I make sure that I take that away and I make sure it's all passed on. So I work with quite a few local agencies to make sure that anything that they're in need of, whether that could be like homeless agencies looking for sleeping bags, or we have places that set up new homes for people, so if they've got furniture that we need to pass on, then we can do that. But also just basic things like, if you've got if we're looking at toiletries, there's so much that people don't need and it's taking up the space, so I can take all that to the hygiene bank or the basics bank. I'm very lucky that I have quite a few friends who work in nurseries and preschools, so anything that is suitable for them, then that all gets repurposed and sent their way. Lots of colouring pens make it in those directions as well. So, and there's some really good initiatives here in Eastleigh, specifically at the Point. We have the Give and Take Exchange, which was originally set up by the Treasure Trash Network by Alison Banks. People can bring anything that they'd like that they no longer feel the need for, and people can come along and take what they do feel the need for. So that's great. And they also host kilo sales, so lots of stuff, everything I can is always repurposed, and it means that the process of actually decluttering is far less guilt-free. I mean, it's a wonderful, uplifting way for people to actually look at their items in a different way. It's not about getting rid of them, it's about passing them on, making sure they're reused.
It's so interesting you should say that. I'm just thinking about a couple of charities here in the South which refurbish tools, thinking of places like Tools for Self-Reliance and that kind of thing. If you say, for instance, if you've lost your husband or your dad, and it's like, what am I going to do with all this stuff in his shed? But it meant a lot to him, but I don't know what to do with it. And you're so right. If you feel like it's going to do such a great thing, that's actually, I would imagine, quite helpful in the process.
Oh, it's lovely. It's such an uplifting thing to do, especially if you have no use for it. I think sometimes when we think about that reduce, reuse, recycle, it's very much, well, I've got to reuse this. But actually, if you've got no use for reusing it, then actually someone else will. So yeah, it's a wonderful way. It's a feel-good factor for both you and also the recipient. Those areas, like you say, with the tools, I mean, that's a wonderful scheme, and there's quite a few things like that around and about here in the south, and it's wonderful to think that those items are actually going to be people are going to benefit from being able to pass those on. I mean, that's a win-win situation for everyone, I think.
Without naming names, what's kind of the most extreme you've tackled?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Extreme is really where it's really individual, I have to say. My favourite thing is doing paperwork. That's my little thing I really enjoy doing. And most people find that very, very overwhelming. And a lot of people will have paperwork dating back years and years and years, and unopened envelopes from 10 years ago, for example. So they're the extremes. They're not quite the extremes, but they are some of the extremes that I see. But they are also my favourite things to do as well. So
brilliant.
People, clear that overwhelm and see the wood for the trees again. Make sure their home is an antidote to their stress and not the cause of it. And that's what's really important.
What a great way to look at it. What a great way to look at it. I love that idea. Do you know, it was my husband's birthday this week, and I was thinking, what am I going to get him for his birthday? And I was very tempted to get him a toasted sandwich maker.
As you do.
And then I thought, where are you going to put it after you've used it once? And I looked in the cupboard and thought, well, it's not going to fit in there because that's the blender, the bullet, all of the other gizmos and gadgets that I've got. I thought, don't do it. But I bought an experience present instead.
Oh, well done. Absolutely the best thing that you can do. And you know what? That is going to be a memory that he's going to treasure. And other than going, oh, that was a really nice toasty.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, memories all the way trump stuff every single time. Yeah.
Oh, Colette, it's really great to hear from you. Where can people find out more, and where can they find out about events like you say about the Bring and Take at the Point in Eastleigh? Where can we find out a bit more about those events taking place?
Well, you can find out those events by following the Point themselves, also following the Treasure Trash Network on Facebook is a great, Facebook is a really, really good place to find out about those, and Eastleigh Neighbours, they often get posted on there as well. And as for myself, right now for the month of March, I'm also doing lots of videos and how-to guides to help you get your decluttering process started. So you can find me on my Facebook page at Clutter Free Me Hampshire, and there'll be lots of top tips and guides on there to help you, and also contact details if you should wish to get started in person, and and have someone in to help you get your journey going. So
Colette,
place.
Brilliant, love it. Thank you so much. Just remind us again of that little mantra. Space is the antidote. Remind us what you said.
Yeah, your home needs to be the antidote to your stress and not the cause of it.
Love it. Colette, thank you so much for joining us today. Colette Lake from Clutter Free Me Hampshire. Clutter Free Me Hampshire. Colette comes in to your home, helps you sort out what you need and what you don't need anymore, and then finds a home for all the stuff you don't need. So whether it goes to the baby bank or to a tool refurbishing charity, or the books might go to a community library space, something along those lines, she finds a home for everything. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, head to Facebook. Or you can find out more about those local initiatives, those Bring and Take initiatives, on the Points website in Eastleigh. Don't forget there's that clothes swap taking place today in Blandford Forum. We were hearing about that earlier on. That's at the Corn Exchange. Bring along 10 items, take away 10 items, stop sending stuff to landfill.